Y'all on?
Recording in progress.
Good evening. It is now 6 p.m. I'd like to call the June 18th, 2024 Richland County Regular Session Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you take the roll, please?
Brenham.
Here.
Pugh.
Here.
McBride.
Here.
Livingston. Here. Teratio.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Barron. Here. Walker. Mackey.
Here.
English.
Present.
Newton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'm like the record to reflect that Councilwoman Newton is joining us virtually this evening due to a prior work commitment, and she did notify me ahead of time, and per our rules, she is able to participate virtually. Next item on the agenda is invocation. Councilman Livingston, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I think our Administrator, Mr. Brown, is going to do the invocation.
Administrator Brown?
Thank you. If you all would like to bow with me at this time. Most merciful and kind Father, we thank you for an opportunity to gather here to serve. Dear Father, we pray for those who will be dealing with the people's business, that you will give them guidance, that you will give them understanding, that you will give them discernment. And Lord, we pray that we will carry out the work of the people in a way that's pleasing stuff in our eyesight. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
And
Thank you.
join us for the Pledge of
Madam
Allegiance.
Johnson, pledge allegiance.
Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes from regular session June 4th, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second for the approval of minutes.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes, sir, we were just getting there. A motion and a second, we're now in discussion. Mr. Livingston, you're
Madam Chair,
recognized.
I'd like to refer to the minutes, page 17 of the minutes. I'm referring to vote on the senior resources. That's about the middle of the page, a little below the middle of the page. I consider the vote regarding senior resources. So my motion is to reconsider that vote on page 17, where it starts out with "we recall" for the question, and the vote followed. I'd like to move for reconsideration, and that was referenced senior resource.
Second.
All right, we had a motion for reconsideration of the minutes related to page 17 and was there an item number tied to this? Is, in the minutes, is item 43? Yeah, it was a discussion under item 43 for reconsideration. Any discussion? All right, hearing the discussion, before we have the vote, Attorney Wright, can you please clarify what a vote of yes and what a vote of no would mean for this motion?
Well, initially it would be to vote for reconsideration. So if you vote to reconsider, then the motion comes back before you, and then you vote on the motion itself. But the initial vote is for reconsideration.
Thank you. Everyone clear? You recognize Councilman Weaver?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just make sure I'm clear.
Yep.
So yes vote is to bring back the issue, correct? A yes vote to reconsider.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You recognize Councilwoman Barron?
Thank you, Councilwoman Mackey. If the maker of the motion would just restate what we are reconsidering, I think that's going to be helpful for all
So
people.
we're reconsidering the vote regarding senior resources budget request.
Correct. So you're talking about reconsidering the budget line item that was presented during our budget hearing.
Second reading.
Second reading.
Sure, no one else had questions for our call? All right, Madam Clerk.
Branham,
No?
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes?
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes?
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes?
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. All right, so now that I heard a motion for reconsideration of that item, I still need the minutes to be approved. Is that correct?
Well, you need to,
Take action on what he
right,
reconsidered?
on the reconsideration.
Councilman Livingston?
Madam Chair, I move that we fund senior resources at the requested amount of, and I apologize, I don't have the budget portion with me. Apologize.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen.
Yes. Madam Chair, I move that we fund the senior resources at $548,046. That's $163.43 less than was approved on first reading. So my motion is to add that $163,346 to what was approved on second reading, which would bring the total amount to $548,046. That $163 will come from, as I mentioned the last time, from our line item in the budget that deals with transfer funds out from the general fund. So we'll be transferring $160,346 from the general fund monies in that category for transfer out to make up the difference as relates to senior resources.
You have a motion?
Second.
Motion is second. We're now in discussion.
Madam,
All right, I heard several people. Teratio, Barron, Ms. McBride.
actually, I'll skip my question. Thank you.
Ms. Barron.
Thank you. So with this new motion that we have, how does this, and this is for finance, I heard a couple of different terms, and that was there's going to be a transfer out of our general fund. But at the end of the day, how does this impact us financially when it comes to our general fund? And are we looking at putting the residents of Richland County at any further disadvantaged as far as taxes are concerned.
Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
Yes, Director Wilkerson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Barron, the 163,346 would have to come from the general fund balance, which would come from our unassigned fund balance. I'm not sure, Lori, do you have the percentage offhand? So this would take us to about 21%, and if you'll recall, our policy is between 20 and 35%.
And one further question,
Yes, ma'am.
please, and that is, given that this line item that we're discussing came out of the community impact grant, it does not impact what we've already awarded, those organizations that we voted on already will still remain the same, and they'll get the funds that we've already voted on, and then the difference would just come from that general fund. The only, I guess for me, the negative impact is, although there is not one to the residents of Richland County, but it does somewhat look at how our percentage that we like to maintain. So if we don't, give us both scenarios. So presently, with what we voted on in second reading, our percentage is where?
Okay, so,
For our fund.
for the fund balance, I mean, it's still in that 22% range. So the impact on the general fund balance is not that significant. This change, though, does change the community impact program. So the program is in place to fund the value of $1 million for the community impact grants. 60% of that is for the community partners, 40% of that is for the competitive grants. So increasing that for one community impact partner would not align necessarily with that program. So this would be outside of the community impact program because we've already locked in the $1 million value of that program.
So it would increase the meal by how much?
It wouldn't increase, no, there was no
So,
increase to the mill value.
okay.
It's just the amount of money that goes towards the community impact program is the equivalent of $1 million. So
Got it.
that's already been established. So then this would be greater than the value of $1 million that would have to be funded by fund balance. There would be no other funding source.
So essentially what we're doing is kind of making some modifications to what we've already said that we were going to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Just if I could, Ms. McBride, in relation to just something that Ms. Barron said, and I understand Ms. Barron's questions, but I also just wanted to be clear on the motion stated using money in the general fund transfer category.
Yes, ma'am.
That cannot happen. And so I understand the questions that Ms. Barron asked, but that is not the motion that was made.
That is correct. Yes.
Thank you. Ms. McBride, you recognize.
Okay, I need clarification. The motion was to transfer the funds from the fund balance.
That was not his motion.
That was not your motion, Mr.?
You recognize Ms. Livingston?
This, every year, our administration, at least, since I've been here, not every year, but most years, will transfer funds from the general fund account to fund a whole lot of things. And you may recall the last time when staff listed a whole lot of things that they fund by transferring money from the general fund account. If I remember correctly, there was some $15 million were transferred from our general fund account this year. All I'm asking is, just like you fund all those other things from the general fund transfer, you transferred the money from the general fund, all I'm asking is you transfer $163,046 from the general fund for senior resources. Now, now my preference would be just simply to add and increase taxes. But since some of my colleagues are concerned about increasing the general fund taxes from the second reading, that was a way to do it, to not have to worry about increasing property taxes. Now we have, if I recall, we have some, I think, unassigned fund balance, and staff correct this, probably somewhere around $43 million. That's unassigned. That's not other accounts where, where we're talking about other types of fund balances. Now, and when you talk about our fund balance rate, every, financial agency that I've reviewed and looked at and so forth, whether it's GFAO, the General Financial Officers Association, whether it's GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board and so forth, they talk about what's considered a reasonable amount for a unassigned fund balance. Now, I was here when we set our goal for a fund balance. I'm keenly aware of what we need. And we set a little higher than average. If you look at any of those organizations I'm talking about, they'll tell you a good fund balance is at least, 2 months operations are some 16.67%. What we're talking about is a minimum impact on our fund balance, not even measurable. And if it was a tax on the citizens of Richland County, it would cost the average homeowner, a property owner, 40 cents. But I'm not asking for that. I'm just simply saying let's take it out of our fund balance as opposed to adding it to the tax roll. And I think that's important because if we don't do this, that means we're talking about a 30% reduction in our appropriations for senior resources. I think that's very unfortunate. So that is why I'm making this motion, and I think it does not have any measurable impact on our fund balance at all. We're still far higher than what's considered an acceptable good fund balance. And I know fund balances play a role in terms of rating agencies and so forth too. But I can tell you this would wouldn't even be measurable. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. And I just want to clarify again, the general fund transfer out column is a completely different column in our line item budget than our fund balance. The motion referred to a general fund transfer out. And that is correct. We do transfer out money to the general fund, and staff can run through the list of those things. But the general fund balance is a separate thing. And so I just want to make sure we're not using them interchangeably and we're not confusing, or when we make a vote, that everybody is clear on where this money is coming from, because the general fund transfer out, that is not something we can do. Okay? So I just, clarification on the motion you made?
Yes. My motion was to transfer the money from the general fund to the transfer fund out account.
And no, sir. Let me have, I know Ms. Barron, anything else you have? Because I wanted staff to walk through clearly again the difference in the two lines, because there is a difference in what we're voting on. Okay. Director Wilkinson, briefly, can you please explain the difference between the two categories? And there is a difference in how the motion is made and what we vote on.
Yes, ma'am. So a transfer out from the general fund is money transferred from the general fund to victims assistant, to SRO program, to public defenders, which are separate funds. In order to accomplish this and to spend an additional $163,000 out of the general fund, the only place to take it is from fund balance. There is not a transfer that would take place. This would just be a direct payment out of the general fund, out of fund balance, because it would be an expenditure over and above our revenues. So we would have to take that out of fund balance. There would not be a transfer that would occur to accomplish this $163,000 increase.
I'm motion is to take it out.
I would like to offer
sorry.
substitute.
Please, because that is not what the motion said.
I would like to
Ms.
offer a
McBride.
substitute
Thank you.
motion. I would like to offer that we would transfer $163,000, 346 from fund balance, from our fund balance to fund the resource for food resources, senior resources.
To fund who?
Senior resources.
Thank you.
To provide food for those people that are out there in Richland County that are not being fed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Newton, you're recognized.
Thank you. And the conversation has gone different places, so I guess I'll ask a different question. I don't think that this is for our finance staff, and this isn't a great analogy, but the way that I think of our fund balance is, we try to have a balanced budget at the county, and our fund balance is essentially our savings or our rainy day fund that we are taking monies out of. Is that a correct analogy? And if not, will you correct me on our fund balance use?
ACA Thomas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That is correct. And to give you some perspective, while $163,000 may not seem significant in the grand scheme of things, as your expenditures grow, so does your required funding to cover your 20% minimum. With the additional $163,000, based on expenditures for FY24, which is what we have to base our fund balance on, we will be at the just over 20% level, close to 21, but just over the 20% level, which our policy from Richland County states 20 to 35%.
Thank you.
So,
Go ahead, Councilwoman Newton.
thank you. So saying that in some basic language, what you're saying is that this puts us, while we're in the range, it puts us very close to, how do I say this? It puts us very close to where we have exhausted the reserves that we said we wanted to help me out. Well, basically saying there's X amount of money that is the best practice for us to have, and we will be very, very close to that line, considering that the number changes as we expend funds on the county.
That is correct. And to be specific, with the additional expenditure of funds, this would only, projecting all expenditures to be used, this would only leave $1.6 million to address any catastrophe or disaster or issue the county may encounter in the fiscal year to remain within our fund balance policy.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newton. All right. I think we've gotten through all discussion. Madam Clerk, does anybody need the motion to be repeated? Ms. McBride, did you have something, ma'am? You sure?
I need to repeat it.
Well, Ms. Barron has something now, so I'll let her speak and then we can repeat it before we do the vote.
I said this at I think the first hearing, the second hearing, I want to say it again. And that is, the reason why we're having this lengthy conversation is, to me, it appears that this body or some people in this body have a challenge in how we fund nonprofits. And we set aside and said that we have certain organizations and certain nonprofits that are priorities, have priorities, and that they are our community partners. Senior Resources is one of them. We also know that many entities that are similar to Senior Resources are funded differently across the country. And I would just like to again say to this body, if we feel as though there is an organization like Senior Resources or any other that we support in this manner and that we want to see something done consistently, then we need to put those things in place. The let's make a deal thing during budget time, to me, is not the most appropriate time, but I know this is the platform that we have right now. But if we're saying that Senior Resources is a priority to us like this, then moving forward in the months to come, let's work towards that, so that we don't put our finance team in these positions where, they have to finagle numbers and things like that. Because we don't want to, as Ms. Newton said, continue to go into our rainy day fund to to fund what we say is a priority. So if it's a priority, my pastor says all the time, if it's your priority, it shows up in your checkbook and it's there regularly. So if this is a priority, let it show up in your checkbook regularly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barron. Ms. Newton, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I completely agree with what Ms. Barron said. And I guess I just want to say, from my perspective, the county, to address that same point, set aside specific funds and set aside a process in our community impact grant process to say, these are the funds that we have and this is what we're going to allocate. And so while it's true that we're having this conversation now, there are also opportunities to make different funding decisions in that community impact grant process. And I guess one of the challenges that I have as a supporter of senior resources and the great work that they do is knowing that we created a process specifically to deal with this. And we have many, many, many amazing nonprofits who don't get funded to the tune of $500,000 a year from the county, which is more than some of our departments. And so I guess I echo that we need to have a process and we need to have our priorities in order. I guess I just also feel like we've been working towards having this process and that's what the community impacts grant process was designed to do.
Thank you, Ms. Newton. And I definitely agree with what has been said on both ends. I will be voting no tonight, and not because I don't support senior resources and all that they do for our community, but because we sit here as a body and a committee and laid out a process for all nonprofits to follow. And I now don't think it's fair to change that process when so many of the nonprofits either did not get money or they receive reduced funding as well. I appreciate all that Senior Resources does for our community as well as many other nonprofits, but I want to stay true to the process that we laid out to nonprofits when they all took their time to apply for the community impact grants. All right, so Ms. McBride, you want to repeat the motion one more time before we call for the vote?
Yes, okay, I move to transfer $163,346 from our fund balance to senior resources. And that's my motion.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes?
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
No.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
No?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Now we can go to approval of minutes.
Yes.
All right. I'll entertain a motion for approval of minutes from June 4th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes?
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next item is the adoption of the agenda. Administrator Brown, do you have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No recommended changes.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes?
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next is item 6, presentation of proclamations. And before we begin this, I want to take a minute to acknowledge a few guests in the audience tonight that I missed at the beginning. I want to recognize Dr. Craig Witherspoon, Superintendent of Richland School District 1. And then School Board Richland 1 Chair, Aaron Bishop, Dr. Aaron Bishop. Thank you. And then we have one of our favorite friends over in the back, former Treasurer David Adams. Just wandering around. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate you. Oh.
Madam Chair.
I see him now. He was hiding behind Dr. Bishop. Also want to make sure we recognize school. God dog, y'all.
I did more than one.
It's okay. All right. Recognize School Board Member Jamie Devine. Thank you so much, sir, for being here this evening. All right, first is 6A, a proclamation recognizing June as National Safety Month. Recognizing June as National Safety Month, whereas each year more than 2,802,000 workers suffer from serious job-related injuries or illnesses, over 5,400 Americans die from work-related incidents, and thousands more workers are permanently disabled. There are even more workers injured or maimed. Richland County recognizes that in order to reduce the occurrence of workplace accidents, local government employees must demonstrate an ongoing dedication to the safety of their employees. And the observance of National Safety Month is a positive and proactive way to advance our goal of reducing workplace accidents and to demonstrate our commitment to the safety of Richland County employees. Whereas National Safety Month and associated safety programs raise awareness, provide quality training and education, whereas Richland County is dedicated to working together to help keep employees safe and to reduce the number of injuries in our workplace. Now therefore be it proclaimed, Richland County Council members Jason Branham, Derek Pugh, Yvonne McBride, Paul Livingston, Don Weaver, Gretchen Barron, Jessica Mackey, and Shaquise Newton hereby proclaim June 2024 as National Safety Month in Richland County, and encourages Richland County employees to renew their focus on workplace safety now and in the future. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. My name is Matt Drawley. I'm the safety manager for Richland County. On behalf of the Office of Risk Management, I want to thank you, Chairwoman Mackey, and the rest of the council for your continued dedication to support safety throughout the county, not only in the month of June, but for the entire year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Y'all stick around afterwards for a brief photo, okay? Next is 6B, a proclamation recognizing June 20th through 26, 2024 as National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. Councilwoman Cheryl English, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mosquito Controlness Awareness Week, whereas mosquitoes are vectors of many serious diseases such as West Nile virus, Zika virus, dengue fever, chikungunya, y'all say that with me, chikungunya, and malaria, posing significant public health risk. And whereas effective mosquito control and prevention strategies are essential to reduce the spread of this disease and protect public health. And whereas public awareness and education about mosquito control and prevention are crucial components in reducing the mosquito population and minimizing the risk of mosquito-borne illnesses. And whereas communities across the nation benefit from the dedicated efforts of mosquito control professionals who work tirelessly to monitor and manage mosquito populations through research, public education, and innovative control methods. And whereas National Mosquito Control Awareness Week provides an opportunity to highlight the importance of mosquito control and to educate the public on how to protect themselves and their communities from mosquito-borne diseases. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that council members Jason Branham, Derek Pugh, Allison Terratio, Don Weaver, Gretchen Barron, and Cheryl English hereby proclaim the week of June 16th through the 22nd as National Mosquito Control Week, National Mosquito Awareness Week in Richland County, and encourage all residents to learn more about mosquito control and to take preventive measures to reduce mosquito breeding in sites and protect themselves from mosquito bites. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Sandra Haynes, Director of Animal Services. I am deeply honored to stand before you and to express my sincere gratitude for this proclamation recognizing Mosquito Control Awareness Week. This proclamation serves as a vital reminder of the collective responsibility that we share in safeguarding our public health and environment. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank our dedicated professionals for their tireless work in mosquito surveillance and public health. Once again, thank you for this proclamation and for your continued support in promoting public health and safety.
You.
Madam Chair,
Next, yes, ma'am, you recognize.
I just want to go on record as supporting this proclamation. My name, maybe I got it in too. I do support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is item 6C, a proclamation recognizing June as LGBTQI+ month. Recognize Director.
Thank you. Recognizing June as LGBTQI+ month. Whereas Richland County has a diverse lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex community and is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, equality, and inclusion for all people in the community. And whereas many of the residents, students, county employees, and business owners within Richland County who contribute to the enrichment of our county are part of the LGBTQI+ community. And whereas in 1969, at the Stonewall Inn in New York, brave LGBTQI+ individuals protested the violence and marginalization they faced, boosting a civil rights movement for the liberation of LGBTQI+ people that has transformed our nation. And whereas various advancements have been made for equitable treatment of LGBTQI+ persons throughout the nation, but there continues to be some opposition against people from this community and around the world, making it important for places like Richland County to stand up and show support for our residents who are affected. And whereas several cities across the United States, as well as the United States Congress, recognize and celebrate June as LGBTQI+ Pride Month. And whereas June has become a symbolic month in which LGBTQI+ people and supporters come together in various celebrations of pride and inclusion. And whereas South Carolina remains the next to last state with no hate crime legislation in place, and attempts to pass a state hate crime bill in South Carolina have all failed. However, we must all, as Americans and human beings, be treated equally throughout our lives and vow to treat all people as equal. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Richland County Council members Derek Pugh, Yvonne McBride, Allison Terracio, Jessica Mackey, and Shakese Newton hereby declare the month of June LGBTQI+ Pride Month in Richland County and invite everyone to reflect on ways we can live and work together with commitment to mutual respect and understanding.
Thank you. Do you have a representative here this evening?
Good evening. My name is Dylan Gunnels. I serve as president of South Carolina Pride Movement alongside friends who are on the board, a part of the community, as well as folks from the Harriet Hancock Center, which is the longest standing LGBTQ center in the state of South Carolina. We celebrate Pride Month in the month of June because it is a remembrance of our ancestors who fought back on our behalf to get us to the point that we are today. Pride was a protest. It was a movement where people stood up and said that they were tired of being oppressed, that they were tired of being marginalized, and they were tired of being treated as second-class citizens. And so this month we celebrate that we are out of that oppression, but we are still facing deep, deep backlash from our state legislature. We are still facing deep backlash through rhetoric and movements that are taking place in combat against our movement. And so we stand here today celebrating with you and thankful for the fact that we know our county stands behind us and that we can come to you and continue in this fight and this movement for true equity and inclusion for every single person in the state. Because I will remind you that equity and belonging matters to each and every one of us, whether you are queer or not. So thank you so much, and may we continue to celebrate.
Thank you. We'll move over to the seal now to take pictures. First would be June for National Safety Month.
Everybody?
Everybody can see me okay there? Come on, Mr. Livingston, come right in that spot right there. Okay, right here, guys. Great. Pull that. One more. All right, thank you. Person I can't see Mr. Livingston. Yeah, we can see him now. All right, hold that guy right there. All right, one more. Excellent. Thank you so much. Since we're both there.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number 7, report of the attorney for executive session items. Attorney Wright, you're recognized.
Yes, Madam Chair, there's one item for executive session, 7A, mid-year employee performance review pursuant to SE Code 30-4-70, subsection A1. And there are no outside counsel for that. There is no outside counsel for that.
Thank you. So per our rules, because there's no outside counsel, we'll save this to our executive session at the end of the meeting. Next item is item 8, citizens input. For items on the agenda not requiring a public hearing. Vice Chair Pugh?
No one signed up to speak, ma'am.
Next is item 9, citizens input must pertain to Richland County matters not on the agenda. Items for which a public hearing is required or a public hearing has been scheduled cannot be addressed at this time. Vice Chair Pugh?
Madam Chair, no one signed up to speak for this item.
Thank you. Next is item 10, report the county administrator. Administrator Brown, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, there is no additional item, information to share under item 10 on this evening.
No updates, okay. Next, item 11, report of the clerk of council.
Thank you, Chair. Chair Mackey, I appreciate it. I just want to remind everyone that District 7 is hosting the third annual community walk this Saturday, June 22nd. Registration starts at 8:30 a.m. and it will start at 9 a.m. at J.W. Keenan High School. That concludes my report.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, it's just Keenan, W.J. Keenan. She got it right.
That's correct.
She got it
Yeah.
right. Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next is item 12, report of the chair. Did want to just highlight that tomorrow is Juneteenth holiday, and this council voted this year, Richland County employees will receive this holiday off as one of their paid official holidays on tomorrow. This council firmly supports the holiday and giving our coworkers and county staff off. Thank you all for the support and celebrating that holiday. Next is item 13, open and close public hearings. 13A, authorizing the expansion of the boundaries of the I-77 corridor regional industrial park jointly developed with Fairfield County to include certain property located in Richland County, the execution and delivery of a public infrastructure credit agreement to provide for public infrastructure credits to Silver Hills Huger LLC and other related matters. This public hearing is now open.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
no one signed up to speak.
Thank you. This public hearing is now closed. Next is item 13B, authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes and incentive agreement by and between Richland County, South Carolina, and Snyder Electric USA, Inc., also known as Project Charge, to provide for payment of a fee in lieu of taxes, authorizing certain infrastructure credits and other related matters. This public hearing is now open.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
no one signed up to speak.
This public hearing is now closed. Next is item 14, approval of consent items.
Madam Chair?
You recognize Councilwoman Barron.
Thank you. I'd like to move to approve items 14A through C.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of items 14A, 14B, and 14C. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes?
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
You recognize Ms. Livingston.
I'd like to move for reconsideration for items 14A, B, and C.
Second.
Motion and second for reconsideration of 4. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No?
Walker, Mackey,
No.
English, Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
Next is item 15, third reading items. 15A, an ordinance authorizing the levying of ad valorem property taxes, which together with the prior year's carryover and other state levies and any additional amount appropriated by the Richland County Council prior to July 1, 2024, will provide sufficient revenues for the operation of Richland County government during the period from July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, so as to raise revenue, make appropriations, and amend the general fund, millage agencies, special revenue funds, enterprise funds, and debt service funds budget for Richland County, South Carolina for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025.
Madam Chair?
You recognize Ms. Barron.
Thank you. I'd like to move to approve items 1 through 49, items 51 through 75, and items 77 through 94. I'll repeat them again for you, Madam Clerk. Items 1 through 49, 51 through 75, 77 through 95, 94.
Second.
We have a motion and a second I won't repeat the items. I think you guys heard it. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
You recognize, Mr. Ratio.
thank you. Just so I can keep up with this, would it be okay with the maker of the motion if we do chunks at a time and then do the individuals? Sorry. Okay, okay.
So I'm sorry, you were asking the maker of the motion to change the motion? Was that your question?
So I'll just make an I statement here, like in therapy. So I am having trouble keeping up with all the hunks of items. And so I got 1 through 49. I tried to mark the rest of them. I had trouble marking the rest of them. So wondering if we can just take them, the first hunk, then the individual, then the second hunk, like that.
So you're asking the maker of the motion to separate their motion?
Please.
Councilwoman Barron, would you accept that request?
If you have something that you'd like to pull out,
I think she's just saying the chunk, could you go 1 through 49 first, then
Yes.
51 through 75, then
feeling friendly.
Thank you.
All right, the maker of the motion has accepted that change. Right now, we're in discussion for items 1 through 49 on the budget spreadsheet. Councilwoman Newton, you recognize?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since the maker of the motion is changing how she's doing it, I will withdraw my comment. Well, I guess I was just going to say, looking at her motion, that if we just acknowledged it was everything under millage agencies, everything under grants, everything under general fund, that might solve Ms. Teracio's problem, but that's okay.
Ms. Newton, I guess it's not everything on the general fund. That's the problem. She stopped short.
I guess I thought she stopped at enterprise fund, so sorry. I'm
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
Yep.
Madam Chair.
And yes, ma'am.
In my quest to be efficient,
It's still working. We don't have to
it's still
change.
working.
It's still working, yep.
I receive it.
Thank you. Councilman Weaver.
No,
any
no,
di-
I'm
you
not
still
finished.
had something?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I did.
Okay.
I started there because I was feeling some kind of way initially. But my question would be, and this is, since we're doing the millage agencies first, I do want to go on the record based upon, and just ask this question, based upon what is being voted on presently, is there going to be an impact or a tax increase to the residents of Richland County if we talk about just millage agencies as voted? And then I do have a follow-up statement after that question. I guess that's for Mr. Brawley.
Good evening. You're recognized.
Good evening, Madam Chair, council members. What is being approved, there is no millage increase. Actually, there's a decrease if you approve the zoo as is proposed.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Mackey, if I may just further, I just want to say that we had a conversation about how I feel about the funding as it relates to the school districts, and just noting that having conversation with many of my colleagues here from the dais, that whereas there's lots of need in the school districts there to make sure our teachers are getting adequate funding and payment, and our children are getting the things that they need. What's presented does allow for some shortage for specifically Richland 1. However, as I've stated before, this is one of those things that's a hard thing, but I do, as I mentioned, and I even spoke to the superintendent about it, this is where we kind of have to, where we're meeting in the middle. Not necessarily as happy as I could be about it, but, it is some leverage, and, I just want to continue to say that we're going to continue to push forward to hopefully we can be able to find some additional way to support our school districts and all of our organizations that we fund for that matter. It just appears it's never enough money to go around. And that's the unfortunate thing, but thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Barron. Councilman Weaver, you recognize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to clarify again. So what we're moving ahead with is, as shown to us here, that if the second motion passed, everything passed with the exception of Councilman Livingston's change, this is the third reading that we're voting on tonight. So it's going to be the same as the second reading as shown us here on this sheet.
Based upon Ms. Barron's motion, yes. So
Okay.
right now, this motion is only considering items 1 through 49 on this sheet.
Okay.
So as of right now, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You recognize, Ms. McBride.
Madam Chair, I have questions regarding from Ms. Barron's motion, item 4 and 8. So I'm trying to find, will it be appropriate for me to ask the questions about them now?
I think so. I mean, we're discussing 1 through 49, so I think since those are in those numbers, now would be the time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The first one, on item 4, which is the funding for the Riverbank Zoo and in using hospitality funds. I think that we're on a slippery road here, and I need some clarification because the hospitality funds, it's state law, and those funds are to be used specifically for certain things. And administrative costs is not one of those things. So I am concerned that we are, and let me applaud you for trying to be creative in looking at funding. But I'm concerned whether we can legally use those hospitality funds if there's administrative costs included. And on a budget management position, will the zoo be able to remove those hospitality funds and set up a separate budget? That's my concern legally, whether we can do it. The other area is that in my opinion, it's almost like supplanting funds that were set aside to help businesses so that we could bring in tourism for restaurants and hotels, and that these restaurants and all have fought really hard and have paid the taxes. And now that there are those that are out there, that we're taking over $1 million from helping them do fundraising issues or issues that will increase tourism. So that's my concern, and I don't know whether legal can help me with that concern, because I just want to make sure that we are doing what's appropriate with state law and that the zoo is being treated fairly, because if we remove that $1 million and something from them, that's going to directly affect their administration if hospitality funds can't be used for administration, and it's my understanding that they shouldn't be. So can someone help me with that?
You're recognized, Attorney Wright.
If you want me to give you legal advice, we would have to go into an executive session for that matter.
Well, I don't want to, because I don't want to vote on anything that's not legally sound. And so that's my concern with the hospitality, using the hospitality funds for the zoo, rather than doing a no meal. And with the no meal, then that's set, and they're not asking for an increase or anything. And so next year, then you'll have that amount of money. Based on next year, you'll be minus $1 million or something. That's my concern with that one. And for number 8, School District 1, my question was, and I received the response, we received the response to council, would this, if we did not provide the requested millage increase, would that impact teachers' pay? And so the letter that we received from District 1 said that it will be a direct impact. It will be an adverse and negative impact on teachers receiving their salary increase. Now, the state provides so much, but local government, we are responsible for having the others. As a former educator, teacher, administrator in education, I have never voted against teacher's salary. And I will never vote, as so far now as that I will not vote against it, because our teachers work too hard and they're dedicated, and our students need dedicated teachers, and we need to appreciate them. And all schools are different. And I read all the articles in the newspaper about issues. All schools have issues, but I'm not willing to take out those issues and cause the District 1 not to be able to do the raises for their teachers. I have one final question, Madam Chair, and I'll be finished.
Yes, ma'am, continue.
Mr. Brawley, can I address?
Yes, ma'am. You recognize.
Mr. Brawley, is there a way to give the funding for the teacher's salary, to break that out in a way with the millage increase or whatever? Is there a way that could be done?
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm really concerned about the teacher's salary.
You recognize, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. McBride,
Yes,
in
sir.
order to do that, I would need to know what the dollar amount is so that we could then apply the millage rate to that dollar amount. So if we knew what the dollar amount is for the teachers' raises or whatever the amount is, we could go back and calculate what the millage, additional millage on the taxpayers would be for you.
And thank you. So I need some help, Madam Chair. So given that this is a third reading.
Yes, ma'am.
And we need to move on. Mr. Brown, I would like to ask Mr. Brown a question.
I know, at first I thought she needed my help.
I wanted to get your permission.
Okay, so you go ahead and ask your question
Okay.
so Mr. Brown can be prepared.
Mr. Brown, is there any way within this budget process that you can think of? I can't think right now. I haven't had time to work through this. That we could put the amount. We don't know the amount because we need to be working with Mr. Brawley in order to get that amount. But that we can make a statement saying that we would look at that as we pass the budget. And is that possible?
So I'm not gonna phone a friend. I almost feel like that's an attorney right question. But the spirit of what you're saying, I understand, but I think emotion-wise, you couldn't. You would have to make a decision on what it is you want to fund and at what level. And I think it's as clean as that. So I think you would have to make a decision whether you would fund an amount, whatever you thought the amount would be, or whatever the amount that you're considering on your page. I don't think there's an emotion where you could leave a number unaccounted for. So let me just be clear with that. I think you have to have a specific amount addressed as a part of the process. So there would have to be some number associated with the motion.
And I would have given me the same answer, so thank you.
And Madam Chair,
You recognize Attorney
I
Wright.
will say that, and this is third reading, so this is final, so what you vote is what it is.
That's the really issue. Thank you. Okay. I have another maybe way out. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion related on items 1 through 49, which is the current motion before us? Madam Clerk?
Brenham?
Madam Chair, for a moment.
Okay, I'm sorry, we have ACA Thomas, you're recognized.
If we could, 1 through 49 is great, but if we could exclude number 5 because it did fail at last reading. So you would need to do 1 through 4 and then 6 through 49.
Thank you.
Second.
All All right, so we had a motion and a second to accept items 1 through 4, then 6 through 49. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
No.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next was Ms. Barron's motion. I'm sorry, did you want to change your? Okay. Next was Barron's motion of items 51 through 75. I recognize Ms. Teratio.
Thank you. Just acknowledging that we're skipping over 50. For
For
now.
her motion, yes, we are.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
I'm sorry, can I ask a point of clarification here? So, line item 52 failed. Should we be pulling that?
It's not even on the list right now. Oh,
I'm sorry.
52 passed on reconsideration.
Okay, thanks. So the motion still just throw 49 though? So was I getting ahead of myself there?
51 through 75.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
My vote is yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
No.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes?
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
The last part of Ms. Barron's motion was 77 through 94. Discussion? I'm sorry. Can you make the motion again and then someone second it?
Move to approve items 77 through 94.
Second, ma'am.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry, Ms. Newton, you're recognized.
I apologize. I thought that I was keeping up. Did we skip 76 in that motion?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Barron's motion did.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes?
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. I'd like to make motion to approve item number 50.
Second.
Discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, you're recognized.
So with item 50, that's going to include the amounts that we approved in committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
No.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes?
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
I'd like to make a motion for item 76 to fund the River Alliance for fiscal year 2025 at $170,000.
Second.
Madam
Discussion?
Chair.
Was it you? Mr. Ratio, you recognize?
Thank you. So this one is coming from the temporary alcohol permits. And so it was my understanding, I believe, that there was a fund balance. Okay, and so we are all set to fund at this amount from this revenue, special revenue fund. I'm looking for, yes. Okay.
Ms. Newton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Ms. Tracy asked part of my first question. And secondly, I just want to make sure that I heard correctly, because what's listed in my packet from second reading was 70,000, and I heard the motion as 170,000. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, so the amount from second reading was 70,000. The additional $100,000 is a one-time request to help with a joint collaboration with municipalities for marketing the river.
Thank you. And then just for my information, can someone from staff share what the special revenue fund balance is or would be?
Director Wilkerson is coming now to provide it. You're recognized.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As of June 30th, 2023, the fund balance was $592,438. So this would decrease it to with the additional 15, to $477,438.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I did have one more question, I'm sorry.
You're fine, you're
Sorry.
recognized.
So the extra 100,000 that we're taking is just coming from temporary alcohol permits?
Just from temporary alcohol
Not the
permits.
general fund, okay.
Not the general fund.
Thank you for that clarification.
Madam
And then
Chair,
there's money there.
Madam-
Ms. McBride, you're recognized.
Is this a last-minute request that's coming in?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
For the additional 100,000?
Yes,
It's not a last-minute request?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but it was not listed on a...
Correct.
Okay, so this is really like a correction, a typo or whatever? I just need to know if it was a last-minute request. Because
ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes?
Livingston. Yes. Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker. Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Move to reconsider?
Second.
I'm sorry. We're not finished, so are you voting to reconsider what items?
Never mind, I'll withdraw. I thought we covered everything.
So we got through 94. So there's still 95 through 100.
Madam Chair.
You recognize, Ms. Newton.
Thank you. And just for my record keeping, presuming there's going to be a motion, there's also item 5 that has not been addressed. Is that correct?
So item 5 failed
Okay.
in second reading, so that's why it was pulled out.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I entertain a motion for items 95 through 100.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
You recognize, Ms. Newton.
Thank you. Could we pull out 95 and 96?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Who made that motion? Will you accept? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. The motion on the table for discussion now is items 97 through 100. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes?
Livingston. Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker. Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Ms. Newton, item 95 and 96 are the only ones left.
Thank you.
Would you like to make a motion on either?
No.
Thank you. You're recognized.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 95.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
No.
Motion approved.
Madam Chair,
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to move to reconsider.
Well,
item-
hold
What?
on. I want to confirm. Did we get everything? Okay. Oh, okay. I missed it. All right, go ahead.
Move to reconsider 15A.
A motion and a second to reconsider 15A. Attorney Wright, is that enough?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Nope.
Pugh,
Yes. No.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron,
No.
Walker, Mackey,
No.
English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion for reconsider fails.
Thank you. That completed third reading of our budget. Administrator Brown or ACA Thomas, is there anything that you would like to say to sum up this process?
The financial staff may have some thoughts. I'll just say thank you to the council going through the committee process, through the work sessions. I appreciate the open discussion, the transparency. I appreciate you closely aligning your decisions with the strategic plan. And going forward, I know we'll continue to work toward that end. Thank you to the financial staff, the budget team, ACA Thomas. Again, appreciate all the county employees for their support and going through the process. I know each year this is an arduous process for everyone, but I appreciate all the participants for working and doing a good job with their managerial of their budgets. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And thank you. Is Auditor Brawley still over there? There you go. Well, thank you, Auditor Brawley, for all your help during this process. Next is item 15B, authorizing the expansion of the boundaries of the I-77 Corridor Regional Industrial Park jointly developed with Fairfield County to include certain property located in Richland County, the execution and delivery of a public infrastructure credit agreement to provide for public infrastructure credits to Silver Hills Huger LLC and other related matters.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next is item 15C, authorizing the execution, delivery of a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes and incentive agreement by and between Richland County, South Carolina, and Schneider Electric USA Incorporated Project Charge to provide for payment of a fee in lieu of taxes, authorizing certain infrastructure credits and other related matters. I entertain a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Duration?
Yes, these are third reading, so yes.
I heard a motion for reconsideration for B and C.
Second.
Second. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
No.
Barron, Mackey, English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
Next is item 16, report of the Economic Development Committee. Councilman Livingston, you recognize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 16A, committee negotiate a fee of ad valorem taxes, agreement between Richland County and Project Commodore, identifying the project and other matters related thereof. And the committee's recommendation was for approval.
You've heard the committee's recommendation. It does not require a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Authorize execution and delivery of fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes and incentive agreement by and between Richland County, South Carolina, and Project Commodore to provide for a payment of fee in lieu of taxes, authorizing certain infrastructure credits and other matters related. The recommendation is for approval for first reading.
You've heard the committee's recommendation. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Walker? Mackey?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Madam Chair, that completes the report of the evening.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Next is item 17, Report of Rules and Appointments Committee. Councilwoman Barron, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have two notifications of appointments. I'll start with the first, which is the Central Midlands Council of Governments, where we did have 3 vacancies, and the committee is recommending to appoint Mr. Chase Cleveland, Mr. David Adams, and Mr. Curtis Singleton.
You've heard this committee's recommendation. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes?
Mackey? English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Mayor?
The next appointment is for the Community Relations Council. They had 6 vacancies. However, we are only able to appoint 3 individuals at this time. The committee recommends appointing Ms. Lurie Floyd Gregory, Dr. Teresa Holmes, and Mr. Sebastian Guthrie.
What?
You heard the committee's recommendation. Discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Brenham? Pugh?
Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton? Motion approved.
Ms. Barron?
And lastly, we do have the notification for vacancies that are coming out and for the body. These vacancies will be advertised starting June the 21st, and applications will be accepted until July the 19th. And I'm going to read the vacancies in for the record, but we do have an additional one that came to the committee after the agenda was printed, and that is for Midlands Tech, well, the representative from Midlands Tech, which is the Midlands Workforce Development. There's a vacancy now there due to a retirement. And so for the record, I'll read them in, and that is Accommodations Tax Committee. There are 3 vacancies. The Board of Assessment and Appeals Board, 1 vacancy. Board of Zoning Appeals, 1 vacancy. Building Code Board of Appeals, 7 vacancies. Business Service Center Appeals Board, 3 vacancies. Community Relations Council, 3 vacancies. The Employee Grievance Committee, 1 vacancy. Hospitality Tax Committee, 4 vacancies. Township Auditorium, 1 vacancy. And now adding to number 10, which will be the Midlands Workforce Development which is a higher ed position. There's one vacancy there. I just want to, and also before we do, this is a recommendation from the committee, but I would like to encourage council members to continue to let your constituents know that we do have these vacancies, because as you can see, some of these are very pertinent committees that we do have throughout the county, and if they are unable to have a quorum, then we're unable to continue to conduct the business of the county. So it's very important that we get these vacancies filled. And if you would, please just encourage applicants to go online and to apply. That's the recommendation of the committee.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Pugh? Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes?
Mackey?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
A report.
Thank you. Next is item 18, other items, 18A.
To approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride?
Yes.
Livingston?
Yes.
Teratio?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes?
Walker? Mackey?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Madam Chair,
Recognized.
move for reconsideration.
That's for 18A.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion and second. Madam Clerk?
Brenham?
No.
Pugh?
Nope.
McBride?
No.
Livingston? Teratio?
No.
Weaver?
No.
Barron?
No.
Mackey?
No.
English?
No.
Newton?
No.
Motion failed.
Thank you. We're now at number 19, executive session. We'll be covering item 7A from earlier, which is the mid-year employee performance review. Attorney Wright?
Yes, that's the only item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need to read something?
No.
Okay,
you
great.
already-
Thank you.
So move, Madam Chair.
Have a motion? Is there a second? I'll second. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
McBride? Yes. Livingston? Teratio? Weaver?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes?
Mackey?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Motion approved.
We're now in executive session. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh. McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio. Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton. Motion approved.
Thank you. We're out of executive session. Let the record show that no action was taken in executive session. Next item is number 20, the motion period. I have not received any motions. Item 21.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
The motion is second for adjournment. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes?
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton. Motion approved.
Meeting adjourned.